childhood, rather from maybe I was when 8 years old, I always wanted to do law. I was a person who was a law-oriented person from the trait that I was born with. I could never tolerate, something wrong happening in front of me. I would be like, no, I must ask, why is this happening? So slowly, gradually, I also fell in love with the books that I was reading. That's literature. Literature and law goes very strong hand to hand. So being from convent ICSE school, Queen Mary, one of the best schools in Bombay, I got my grounding foundations about reading Shakespeare, literature, and a lot of more things like Charles Dickens. And it inspired me from that angle that, look, even I want to be one of those English lawyers and want to really fight for the justice. More so, even my dad has studied law, but he's from the business industry. So with that kind of a motivation and background that I can do what I want to do, I planned my career accordingly, and I chose commerce in school. We had these options of commerce and science. So I chose that from the very beginning, that yes, I don't want to do anything with science, but I'll take commerce and economics. That will really help me make my foundations better and understand, the theoretical parts and how the law would go ahead. So with that, I joined the law school, government law college. Prior to that, I must reveal, in Praveen Gandhi, that was the first batch of the 5-year law course. I was one of the students who topped that college and then got transferred to government law college because for some point of percent of marks, I couldn't get in GLC in the very stroke of my, after 12th 5-year course. Having done all that while I was studying law, people told me, listen, you can never become a solicitor. It's very tough. I said, no, I want to be so. So in my second year, third year law, I started seeing what's the procedure? How do we actually get ourselves into articleship, and how many years do we have to invest to be a solicitor? So with that planning, participating in moot courts and all, I did develop myself as a student to be a would-be lawyer. Then I was eligible for becoming a solicitor while I completed my 3 years articleship. Having done all that and passing the toughest exams, which I would call it, I became a solicitor in 2011. 2009, I finished my law. And after that, I still wanted to pursue and study and develop myself. So I did my LLM in intellectual property rights and IT, that is information technology. I also did, pursuant to that, masters in public policy, because I did believe that a lot of policies which are there in place need a lot of revamping. So with that, that is my academical part of it. Now, when I talk about practical working part of it, yes, I did do my internship during my 5-year law course days. From the very beginning, I took up an additional curriculum course of diploma in cyber law. That's from 2005. I started developing my additional course baggage. Then I got an exposure in litigation. I did join senior counsel with Vijay Singh Thorat, and I did get my experience in how to really argue in court. Then I also got my experience with Justice Sri Krishna, wherein I knew how to do arbitrations and how to actually function the tribunal workings, etc. So with all of it, one fine day, after roundup of practice pursuant to my internships, to my associateship, I did realize that I want to do something on my own. So that's where my independency flew off, and I'm like, look, this is where I can fly in my independent zone. So I started taking independent matters and I started arguing in the court as and when the opportunities came. And I think in 13 years of my career practice, 13 and a half, I would rather say, I'm not doing that bad. I'm doing good enough. Because I also became AOR of Supreme Court in 2016. I did get the opportunity on my own to argue before the Supreme Court, which many people crave to get that opportunity. So hard work and determination and focus made me really achieve, or rather I'm still achieving more better in what I'm doing in my personal, and professional life balanced together. I would say it's fantabulous because you're not actually judging the students, you're actually learning from them. They come so well prepared that, I do sense that everybody wants to perform the best. But there is something called nervousness, lack of confidence, which I see in the students sometimes, because obviously they are like, I'm getting judged. They have that in their mind. So, the flow of performance sometimes deteriorates, but then when we give them tips of how to do well, they take it so positively. And I think the younger generation, say maybe, your generations or maybe younger to that, they're so fantastic. we are like sometimes like, who do we give the best course? Who's the best? Because they work so hard. Their colleges, their curriculum activities, their composite teams, the chemistry between all the colleagues together is really good. And when you see that, you do see it's not about how they are actually performing to you, but it's about like how they are presenting themselves together. So when I see that, I do believe there'll be fantastic mediators, fantastic lawyers. Only thing they need is proper training and proper grooming, which we as judging participants, we just always feel we can give them few tips. That doesn't make a complete package for us to help them become what they want to. With experience, as they more participate, with more collaborations with different students from all over the country or even internationally, they will get a glamorous exposure in this field. I do believe that more the opportunities, more the benefits. I would rather say in a very clear-cut, short way, what you wear makes a difference because people start judging you. In that sense, I would say one should be well-dressed as per the code and conducts and the rules that we have. Why be more flashy in the court? You can be that in your office where you have your clients. Court is a very disciplined area where one should also be careful of what they talk apart from their dressing. Say women or men, you can't have a shabby hair look. You have to, if you're a man, you can't have that uncombed hair and just getting up from your sleep and coming to the court. You'll be well dressed, well combed. Same way, even women have to be in that decorum of the presentation, I would rather put it. If you're presenting well in your attire, in your presentation overall, and your law is well embedded with it, and you can argue well, I don't see anybody will judge you negatively. You'll only be judged negatively if you don't perform well before the court. And you come very flashy, which you yourself would be a little conscious about. This is not the place where I can come with those high-heeled, pencil heel shoes and walk around like this. You can wear so if you can carry, but I would say be more simple in the court. That's my personal view. Be more dignified because, this is what your personality will take you a long way. I don't criticize people wearing the fancy dresses and coming to the court. I don't say that, but why give opportunity to let anybody point fingers at you that look, you are not in the decorums of the dress codes that we have to be, So it's individual choice how they want to present themselves. Like if you ask me, I would be very conscious about what I wear and I would be careful about what I speak in the court. And as far as the working is concerned, for women, I think they have to balance the family life as well as the independency of working. So it depends on what kind of a field you are choosing in law. If you are choosing a part-time job or you're choosing a retainership in the law firms, you can have that adjustments. But when your court matters are there, adjustments are difficult in litigation. You have to be there because your client wants you to argue and not be like absent when the matter is called out. Even the judges are very cooperative and nice. We have many senior colleagues at bar and even associated colleagues who take accommodations in a very positive way sometimes if you need to. But you can't make it a habit of accommodation. So it's like you have to be there well read and well prepared for your case. It doesn't matter which gender you belong to. I do see there is a lot of enthusiasm of people to join litigation, but the enthusiasm would be only sustaining if you can get a good chamber, firstly, to be joined in, so that you get more exposure to varieties of different matters. Also, good law firm where litigation is heavily involved and you can participate actively. What I mean actively means you can go to the court, you can see how the court atmosphere is. Many youngsters feel that there's a lot of name and fame in litigation. Yes, it is, but there's less money comparatively to what you would be getting in your packages of a corporate law firm, etc. and all. But it again depends on individual of what they want to choose. Whether they want to go before the court and argue, then you do counsel practice or you join an advocacy where you can get the opportunity to argue. But if you get the opportunity, look, I can't argue in the court, I don't wish to. I want to sit and do a non-litigation transactional work because that is what I'm made out for. If an individual feels that, then I do see a lot of people taking that zone where the deadlines and the pressures of even complete transaction work is there. So there is no escape of, hard work. You have to either ways work very hard. Either you are in the court or you are in your office, or either you are serving your client, because client wants to see the best. There's a lot of competition. So as I say in litigation also, you have to make your name with successful research, successful performance. You have to identify for which there is a roadmap which is created. It's like you have to invest 5 to 10 years of your life to let people know who you are and how you are doing. Then the work profile, the work becomes more like a polished work profile, and people will start giving you work. They will start identifying you as one of the specialists in A field or B field in litigation also. So is the case in any law firms that you join, or any law you choose, you want to be specialized in. Like, you have a lot of cars to drive, but Ferrari would know this best speed, so same way you have to identify what you are best at and accordingly choose yourself. So for younger generations, I would give advice: take experience in litigation as well as non-litigation, and decide what you want to choose. Do you choose your commercials higher than your active appearances in the court, which may be lesser commercials comparatively in the initial phase? But then again, it's individual circumstances, choice and preferences, why and what you want to be within 5 years or 10 years of your career life. Firstly, to begin with, you must have a very good family support who will understand your profession. If your family cannot understand that your work calls it for urgency, you have to be there, and they need to give you your space. If they don't cooperate with you, it gets very difficult. Family would mean with your spouse, your partner, your children, you have to devote a lot of time. You can't have that escape of not giving them attention. So you have to balance your schedule that way. Apart from that, I would say you should have your travel breaks, go out, venture new things you want to do apart from a rigorous litigation practice or rigorous work that you do, because you need somewhere to keep your mental health cool. Because to balance both the things, professional and personal life, your mental health has to be strong. Because somewhere, if you can't balance it, it's overlapping, you may land up being a person you don't want to be. You may lose your tempers quick. You may start forgetting things that you have to put in your doable work. So a lot of complications can happen if you are not mentally composed, calm, and reasoned enough of how you want to do. Don't be greedy for a lot of work. Take limited work, because you want to spend quality time with your family. The heavier work you take, you'll have no time for them. And if the family is neglected, there will be some tussles between you and the family. They also want you because you're very important to them. So as the professional, your clients also want you to perform. So you need to be very selective. If too much of work is there, try to make a team where your team can actively work rather than you doing all the work. So you have to plan your whole office system that way, your chamber system that way, that if you have to go for emergency in hospital, you have somebody there to stand by and do your work. So this balancing would be there with time, so you know how much time I'm investing in my work. If I'm investing 20 hours in a law firm, I'm not the person I can sit there. If I'm investing like 18 hours in my workplace and I'm happily doing something, I may consider to do. But if I'm investing 12 hours and doing all the best that I can do, and other 12 hours is for my family, sleep, etc., for myself, then I think it's a better life for me. So these expectations cannot always be a fixed time schedules for you. Your profession will demand more time and less time sometimes. It depends on the kind of work that you are doing. So never forget your family. That's more important than anything else you do in life. So be happy with them, be around, and be loyal to whatever you do. If you're taking up a matter, take it up only if you can do it. Otherwise, don't take it up. Supposing you have a family wedding coming up and you know you won't be able to take up this brief, just don't take it up because you don't want the client to go. Make it very clear to them, I will have this difficulty, I won't be able to do this work. Try to be honest with whatever you are doing. Then there'll be a composed, calm, and a very straight-jacket life of profession for you, as well as a family life. And tell your family members, I won't be able to avoid this matter. I will need to go there. I don't think they will oppose, because they know that you're working and you're also giving them the time. So this is how you balance. I would say psychology is not only limited to matrimonial matters. Is there in every bit you do in your profession, everything you do in life. So you have to understand one thing, yes, psychology for a specific question of matrimonial disputes plays a very, very important role. I would say so because in the first inception of the petition that you file, your first 2 or 3 dates are only for counseling to understand what the other side expects from you if they want to resolve the dispute with you in a mutual consent way. So you have to test the game of mind first, whether this person will come forward for a mutual consent or will there be a dispute of a contested divorce. So it's all in the mind. Even the counselor who is there, the court attached counselor, will also have to know the psychology of both the parties to ensure the report comes out well before the court, so that they know that this matter can be mutually settled or this cannot be mutually settled. So that time breather is important. Even as lawyers, when a client comes to us and say A, B, C, D is the issue with us and due to which we want to part apart, like we have to first see what is the reason for A, B, C, D. Go to the root of it. Understand why this person is saying this thing. So for that, you have to be very well connected with the mind of a person and how this person is expecting that because I will file ABCD litigation or I'll go for mediation, I'll achieve this. So the entire gamut, of understanding what a person wants, how they want it in the future or how they will play. It's like a chessboard. You play the game according to the mind of a person. That is as simple as that. Who wins it in the end is secondary, but mind is always active in the strategy making, in the understanding of a person, in compromising or in arguing a case. Without understanding the psychology of a person, if you land up doing a case, tomorrow there'll be allegations on you that this was not what was expected by the litigants. Why did you go ahead and do this? Therefore, that plays a very, very important role. I would honestly say I did participate in few moot courts. Apart from that, I did like writing, so I was initially in part of the magazine committee. Then I dropped the idea to continue because I had to sign my articleship to become a solicitor. Articleship is for 3 years, the training that we need to do to become a solicitor. So I got involved in practical experience, more so networking with my colleagues and friends while I was doing my articleship, because networking would mean not for the professional networking, but to understand each individual counsels in High Court and who's practicing in which areas of law, is identifying so that I can communicate with them and understand how I would benefit from them as a student. So I did get those opportunities. I did get to intern in the criminal side as well as the civil side. So I did take experience of understanding my practical values of performance while I was a student. I also raised a lot of questions on social frontier. So I did start my NGO, the mixed voices, Aao Milkar Desh Banaye. I thought I will do some social things on that platform than joining any political parties or anything of that sort. So from that very beginning of my career days, I did feel there is a very important thing that we need to touch as human beings. It's like working for them. And those values that were inculcated in me through my family backgrounds and through the right mentors that I had in life, through my best friends and people, I did manage to do a lot of social work for transgenders, for senior citizens, and more so even in COVID, you must be aware about the PIL of door-to-door vaccination and for the bedridden people and all. So I initiated it and I did it in party in person because it was a social cause. So because of those values which I had from my inbuilt inception days, I did carry it in my day-to-day activities of the careers. And even when I got the opportunity in COVID period to really feel what people were undergoing and they were not getting vaccines in their homes because they could not get up from the bed, I took up those PIs, and thankfully our judiciary was so grateful and so useful for us that we did achieve that goal. So what I'm trying to say is from the very college days, you need to identify what you like. If you like people, you have to communicate, know people. If you don't like people, then you're not in the right field. In law field, you have to like people. You have to understand their problems. You can't be a very introvert. You have to be a little bit extrovert. You have to explore. You also need to travel so that you know what kind of different regions people have problems, community problems. So once you identify a problem, you look forward for solution. That is the whole thing that you need to do from the day one of your career. And I've been doing that. And I've also been teaching from last 12 and a half years because I do believe what you learn, you must give back. And it doesn't cost you anything but your time. That time is very, very, very good time that you're giving to the students, because you are exchanging thoughts. You're also learning. So that ability to learn from the curriculums that you learn from your college days is always carried forward in your profession. Favorite female author, I would say there are many to name, but I would say not many in the female, but I would rather say I'm a Shakespeare lover. I would already put it this way. Yeah. I think I've always liked, as I said, I'm in the Shakespeare zone more than the fictional characters. I've always liked to be Portia of Merchant of Venice. So if I get that opportunity, I'll always play that always, to be fair in the game of, yeah. I would say it would not be one individual. Firstly, my best friend, who was always a push-up for me. So he was one of the ones who always was with me. Then I really admired Justice Sri Krishna, because I worked with him. I also liked from the appellate side of the bar, Vijay Singh Thora. He was composed and good enough to learn and grow with. And I really loved appearing before Justice Kathawala, who was a Bombay High Court judge. So inspiration by them, if you want to get into judiciary, why not be like him? Justice Sri Krishna, Justice Kathawala, who are like really hardworking people. And if you want to be good counsels, why not be your own individual self and develop? Because you don't need to copy anybody to be a counsel. It's your own court craft. I'm passionate. I'm passionate about my work. Anything that comes to me, I'm just passionate about it. I would rather say I would love my briefs more than I would love anything else. So that's the motivation factor. You have to love your work. If you don't love it, you can't do it. See, to advise, firstly, never forget your focus. Nothing about your dignity. If somebody pulls down your dignity, do not stand there. Do not tolerate bullyism. People will try to bully you. You are junior, you are ex-gender, you are nobody today. So people will try to bully you. Don't allow that to happen. Always be honest. Do not run for money. You don't need money in the profession. You need your reputation. Money will come. But once you lose your reputation, you are finished. There's nothing that remains for you. So don't let that be the end story of your profession. Let the profession grow. You grow. Let others grow together. Make sure that you are just and fair in whatever you are doing. Don't be very aggressive. Don't be very brash. And don't be cruel to yourself, because you need to pamper yourself. I just want to say one thing. You're doing a fantastic job here, so that your interviews, I don't know how big am I to even say so many things to the world around who will be hearing this interview. But yes, this is my experience, and I would like to thank a couple of more people with whom I have been associated with. I would like to thank Justice Kemkar, who was one of the Bombay High Court judge, who also corrected me while I was, arguing a matter, and he told me a few things about law. I would also like to thank Justice Ketkar, who had appreciated me in my orders, even our Chief Justice of Bombay High Court, who appreciates. So these are motivation points. So I would, to close it, say, with these interviews and with the point outs, let's encourage ourselves to be in positive zone with positive people. And if you find some negativity around, just scrap it off and move on. And this is why I say a very genuine advice to everybody, whoever will hear this. And if any errors, apology for it, because that's important to say so. Thank you very much. You had a great day. Bye.